By the way, do you need a nest? I'll send you one. Yeah, for my Lasius niger colony. Both products are new and untested, so that's going to be something. Both products? He's sending me two. No way. No way, no way. No way. Yes way. Before opening this package up, let's play a game. I count down from 3 to 1, and on 1 I show you my personal address. Okay, let's go. 3, 2... Ah, you missed it. Shall I do it again? Again? Ah, you missed it. Anyway, opening up the package, we have a neat little business card and a keyring. Aesthetic Ants has definitely stepped up his package game since last time. In this package, we're supposed to have a large size nest with a mesh hydration system and an Outworld. Wait, where's the Outworld? Oh, is that the Oh no. I am not happy about this, Aesthetic Ants. Not happy at all. Do you take your customers for some kind of sweatshop? Shame on you.
He couldn't ship it assembled though.
No. There are voices in my head again. I hate it when this happens.
It would snap into bits while shipping.
Oh yeah. That's a good point. Thanks, voice in my head. Voice in my head? Are you there? If it's not already abundantly clear, this video isn't scripted. I've just got my notes here and my mouth here, and I'll just say what I want. So before I say anything about either of these two Outworlds or nests, I like the Outworld and I like the nest. I think they're both objectively pretty good products. Let's focus on the nest first, and the biggest difference I've had since the last iteration of this nest that I had is that there are a lot more sort of quality of life features, so to speak. For example, you've got this little hydration tray with 3 different paths, each leading to different places. So water 1, you'll get one place hydrated, water another, and you'll get another place hydrated. It's also got this hole here, which corresponds to mesh that allows air to get inside the nest. Another feature that I believe show that Aesthetic Ants has really put some more thought into designing his nests is this. This is a red acrylic cover, and the nest isn't shaped like this. The nest is a rectangle, but it's got these 2 little tabs on the side to make it easy to take the red acrylic cover off of the nest. You know, other companies such as AntScapes would just have the red acrylic cover the same size as the nest, but then you've got to, you know, go in with your fingernails and sort of fiddle and try and get it off, and that causes a lot of vibrations which stresses out the ants, whereas this, really easy, you just pick it up with the tabs. Overall, I think that the 3D printing quality on this nest is really good. You can see the lines as the 3D printer has gone back and forth, which actually I kind of like the look of. So in terms of aesthetics, this nest is pretty good. Obviously, as with any 3D printed thing, there are a few, you know, irregularities, you know, tiny fibers sticking out, but it's not too big of an issue. Most of the time they're so small that you can't even really see them that well. Going on to the Outworld now, I really like this once it has been made. I'll get to that point later, but it features this lid, which has got little sort of ventilation lines. That's really good. It's got a lip where you can put, you know, Fluon, anti-slip, talcum powder, you know, whatever you use as an escape barrier on. It's got one entrance port, which fits this sort of type of tubing, which is fairly small but fits into the nest, and Aesthetic Ants provides you with this tubing when you buy it. I would sort of prefer it if this had 2 entrance and exit ports, because it will be really inconvenient when, say, you have a setup with this Outworld and then the nest back there over here, and your colony is outgrowing that. In the current situation, you'd have to, you know, unplug this tube and then add in another tube, and, you know, put in an adapter, or put the whole thing inside of a new setup and take it apart. Whereas if it had another hole on this side, they could just plug something else in with no fuss. And I think that would be a pretty good idea, if I'm going to be honest. It does have little legs, and that's presumably to match the height of this tray here, so that it is an incline or a decline to get to the nest. It's got this little laser etched, well, I think laser etched Aesthetic Ants logo, which I really like the look of. And onto the once it has been made part now. At least for me, this Outworld was pretty hard to put together. It took me about between an hour and an hour and a half. It's made by these little 3D printed posts, and you just screw screws into this, and that connects up acrylic panels. And on this bit here on the long side, there's also a little tab that you push the acrylic into. I don't really see any other way that you could secure this together other than the Outworld being prefabricated and, you know, completely made up like this while shipping. But that may lead to, you know, it snapping and breaking apart during shipping, which obviously you don't want. There are supposed to be little knobs in the center here to hold up the lip that you put your escape prevention on. Personally, I didn't put them in, not because it was my choice, but because I couldn't physically, you know, put them in. I'm not coordinated enough to. I'll get around to installing them later, because otherwise, you know, ants will be coming out of this. Overall, I think I would give a 9 to the nest. I really like it. The only real way I can see it improving is if you had like a, you know, some sort of system to put a heat cable through. There are at least these little slots here. So what you can do is put the cable under here, loop it around, and then have it come out here. That's great. And that's what I've been talking about for most of the time about this nest. It just shows that Aesthetic Ants really cares, and he's been putting thought into his designs, which I really appreciate as an ant keeper. And the Outworld, I'm gonna give it 7.5. I docked away maybe a point for how hard I found assembling it. You know, out there, once it's actually released, you might find it easier, because chances are that if you're watching this, you're more coordinated than me. And then docking another half the point for there only being one entrance, I think it would be really a lot better if you could have multiple. If that's implemented, I think that would be a great idea. Yeah, so that's all I really have to say. This has been the first impressions of this Aesthetic Ants Outworld and Nest. I think once these products have been released, you're really going to enjoy them. At least I have, and that's just, you know, feeling them. I haven't even moved any ants into them yet. I only think that I can truly review an ant keeping product if I've actually used it with my ants. So I'll be moving my Lasius niger colony into here in the next 2 weeks to a month, and then after that I'll have about 2 weeks to, you know, to collect my notes and find out what I think about using this as an ant keeper, and then the review will be out then. For those of you who watched my original video on the Aesthetic Ants nest, you'll remember that there was a pink montage. Well, in this next little bit, you might get a little bit of nostalgia for that. That's all I'm gonna say. Anyway, I'll let it play now. Can you be? Can you be? Can you be? Can you be? Will you be? Can you be? Can you be? You be? Can you be? Can you be? Can you be? Can you be? Will you be? Can you be? Can you be? I caught a wave, caught more air than a super day. If you enjoyed this video or you learned something, then like and subscribe. If you didn't, then don't, and I'll see you in the next video. Seriously, can you be?